James and Amelia were riding in a hot air balloon with a small dog. Several dozen meters up in the air, Amelia picked up the dog and threw it down. Amelia did this deliberately. She needed to create a spectacle to attract sponsors. She was dressed elegantly and leaned out from midair to wave at the people below. This was extremely dangerous, but she hadn't anticipated the terrifying situation she would face next. Even the dog would feel fortunate to have reached the ground early. This was 1862, back when humans didn't have airplanes yet. Brave people would ride hot air balloons into the sky, some for honor, some for science. Amelia was an experienced pilot, while James was a scientist riding a hot air balloon for the first time. As the balloon rose to over 300 meters, they encountered their first dark cloud. With the wind's influence, the balloon was flying in that direction. Amelia began removing her makeup and changing clothes, making James feel rather awkward. Soon they entered the cloud, and at that moment, thunder began to rumble. Soon they couldn't see anything. Suddenly a strong gust of wind struck. In the violent shaking, the two fought against the air currents. They decided to fly higher to escape the clouds. During this time, James nearly fainted from the impact. While Amelia suffered worse, she was thrown out of the balloon. Fortunately, she held onto the rope tightly. James struggled to pull her back in. Before they could recover, another storm hit. They grabbed the basket and screamed in terror. Luckily, the rain stopped shortly after. Suddenly, sunshine flooded everything. The weather at high altitude was truly unpredictable. The two hurriedly secured all the ropes. When the balloon reached 5,000 meters, something wonderful happened. A large group of yellow butterflies appeared, dancing around them as if they had entered a fairy tale. No one knew butterflies could fly this high. Now they knew. Soon, the balloon rose to 7,000 meters. The temperature had dropped to -6 degrees Celsius. The equipment began to ice over. The air was becoming increasingly thin. Inexperienced, James hadn't even brought warm clothes. But James refused to descend and insisted on flying higher. Soon the balloon reached 8,000 meters. The balloon's surface was covered with thick ice. James's hands were so cold they wouldn't respond. At the same time, he began showing signs of oxygen deprivation, and his consciousness was becoming foggy. James released a pigeon. The poor bird couldn't fly and fell straight down. He went to get the last pigeon, but that one had already frozen to death, so he threw that pigeon down too. James continued throwing things to reduce weight. James wanted to fly even higher. Amelia felt they couldn't continue ascending, but James was becoming somewhat deranged. At this critical moment, Amelia slapped him to bring him back to his senses. But when Amelia tried to pull the gas release valve, she discovered it wouldn't budge. It must have been frozen shut. What to do? She decided to climb up herself to manually release the gas.